What is up, everybody? I hope everybody's having a great Thursday. Had a great week so far. Hope y'all are doing good. Y'all are chilling out. Things are surprisingly great over here, mainly because I finally got my release out and I'm can relax now, if that makes sense. It's been a little busy, but things are good. I can't complain right now. I'm happy that it's out in the wild. Let's see here. Okay. Anyway, yeah, well, I hope everybody's doing good today. I hope everybody's had a good Thursday. Hope you all have enjoyed listening to my Never remix. I'm really glad it's out now. It's kind of, I was like, I needed to put something out and get it out there, and I'm pretty proud of it. You know, no track's ever done, but sometimes you just have to get the stuff out there and just kind of let it take on a life of its own. So, yeah, so yeah, you'll probably see me post about it for a little bit, some videos and stuff like that. So it's been fun, kind of getting that one out the door a little bit. But yeah. So anyway, let's see here. Today I thought it would be kind of fun to do a couple things. Maybe I would kind of first off celebrate the release by going over it and just talking about some of the things I did. And then I thought maybe in you know, round two of the stream I would maybe play a little bit of games. I picked up some DLC for City Skylines, so that might be fun to play for a bit just to kind of try out the new stuff. But yeah, so other than that, it's been good. It's been a nice week after a stressful like last 2 weeks of just trying to promo it and everything like that. So we'll see how things go here. I was looking up some stuff earlier. I need to get all these windows closed. But yeah, we'll see how everything goes and what's good with everything. But I figured it'd be fun to just kind of relax and enjoy the new enjoy the downtime now that it's out and kind of start looking towards the next thing. But yeah, so anyway, what is up with y'all, chat? What's going on? Let's see. Has anybody popped in? I need to update this actually before I can see who's in here. Yeah, things have been going well. Can't complain. So, all right. I'm thinking we'll wait a little bit, kind of let some people filter in, let the notifications and stuff go out a bit, and then we'll go from there. And okay, good. The Discord notification pushed. Hey Wilson, how you doing? Congrats on the release, man. Congrats on the release. It's awesome that it is finally out in the wild. So yeah, it's been a longer than usual promo period, but I think it went pretty well. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's good to have it done. Yeah, I really dig your remix, man. It's really awesome. It gives me that classic breaks feel. So I think it was a cool kind of release with mine and yours on there, just kind of alternating styles. I like it. Nothing. Sometimes it's disappointing when labels do remix releases and then like each remix is basically the same. It's just you kind of like get something different or new or get something that at least feels each mix feels different. That's what I like the most when you get that diversity in there. So yeah, it's cool. I dig it a lot. But yeah. Anyway, let's see here. I think I will pull up while I'm in the waiting, I'll pull up the project file so I can kind of show everybody just what my thought process was on it and things like that. So yeah, we'll get this fired up and kind of go through here and see what's up with everybody in a little bit. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been a good yesterday was a good day. Sometimes when you like build up a whole bunch of stuff, like you feel like you put a lot of pressure on you, and then once it's released and once it's out there, you're kind of just like, "Oh, I can I can breathe again. It's all off. I can just go back to relaxing." So it's pretty awesome. So yeah, we'll see here. But that's like one of the things that you kind of get used to, especially when you're doing this pretty independent because you're the one pushing all this, everything yourself. Like you're not really, you don't have a giant team or anything like that to really push your things for you, and you have to kind of do everything yourself. So it's definitely a nice like, oh, you know, whew, relief when it's, you reach that point where okay, it's out, it's done, I can move to the next thing. I don't have to sit here and do 20,000 things and worry about it. But yeah, so yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's been it is it is a nightmare cycle for sure. That's true, very true. But part of it is a nightmare, and part of it is kind of fun because it's like when you do have success and when good things happen, it's like you're kind of like, yeah, I'm beating the odds. I'm kicking ass and taking names and all that. You feel a sense of pride because you did it yourself. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I think I will go ahead and I did start a little early, so I'll wait a little bit longer and then we'll jump in here. But and thank you to everybody who streamed the remix already on Spotify and on Apple Music and SoundCloud, iTunes, wherever you have listened to it. People on my email list who send me emails back saying y'all digged it. I really appreciate that. It's awesome. Really appreciate y'all taking the time to listen to my music and tell me how it makes you feel and, support me like that. So I appreciate it. So thank you so much. Whoever you are out there, if I know you, if I don't know you, thank you. I really appreciate it. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's see. We still have about a minute left. I usually like to start around 7:05. I feel like 5 minutes is a good kind of waiting period to get everything going. So we'll go ahead and jump into it. Yep, 7:05 now. So yes, once again, I have the remix art here, the cover, just to kind of like accentuate things and let everybody know it's there. But I'll go ahead and get it off the screen in a little bit so that everybody can see the whole project. But yes, this is my remix for Edwin Jack's track Never. It's not super big, only like 60 or so tracks on my playlist, and only about a good 60 on the mixer as well. But some of these are unused, so it's maybe more like 50. But it's oh, that's right, yeah, 205 for you, man. You're hardcore, staying up late, man. You're looking and sounding like me, man. I don't like. I'm lucky if I'm asleep before 2 a.m. It's just, yeah, it's probably not the best thing in the world, but it's just how it is. So, but yeah, so this is the remix right here, and I'll go ahead and kind of show y'all. Y'all probably or hopefully have heard it already, so you kind of know how it sounds like. So I can kind of dive into just the some of the things I did, some of the choices I made. Let me check the levels here on the music. All right. So that's true, it is our life. So one of my latest additions are these bell chimes, and you can hear them here. I kind of wanted something melodic in the background and haunting that wasn't super loud, but it would kind of, your ear would catch on to it at different times. And I automated it so that it would kind of swell in and out during the different sections, like the breakdown, the second verse, the third verse. in the second breakdown. So that's kind of what I mean. The second break. So that's basically was the latest. That was the last edition before I finished the remix. Was that percussion here? Pretty standard percussion for me. Just a couple of offhand hits and stuff like that. Nothing super wild. Let's see, for the pads, I just used some straight up standard, pretty standard chords here, with a little bit of variation in the notes, and then I did some volume automation. And then I can actually show you on I have a moderate side chain that's pretty immediate, very fast attack, almost an instant attack actually, and it's got a average to a slow release. I kind of wanted to control the kick a little bit because if I pull up span here, I can show you after I fix the routing. So when I was in mid-side mode checking it out, I noticed that some of my side frequencies were going on this pad C right here. They're kind of were going a little nuts, and so I was like, all right, let me tone it down a little bit and sidechain it pretty hard so that anything gets kind of washed under there. So went ahead and did that, and then I added a little bit of saturation knob, just like not even two, yes, right around 2 on there. And then I did some selective EQ cuts. Didn't really do any mid-side EQ, and I have 3 layers on this pad. I have 2 silent layers and a layer from that's like a filler pad from Labs Spitfire Audio. So that was the pad here, just kind of chill like that, and then the pattern just kind of changes to a different, it's like mini progression here in the breaks and the breakdown. And I wanted to get that little harmonics in on the end of each phrase just so that it would kind of add a little bit to the track. So now here we have the vocals. And this was a lot of work for me to kind of get right. And there's a couple things even now that when I listen back to it that I kind of wish I would have changed, but I'm not 100%, like I'm not super upset about it. So but basically, I went through and I got the dry vocals and I did a couple things. So the first thing I did was I cut it into different phrases, and the different parts I kind of chopped them up manually.
Drifting away, moving apart, never.
So I did that to kind of, create some natural opportunities when I wanted to kind of chop them up here. So I did that, and then went super heavy on the effects automation. So I have a send on the vocals here that sends to 2 different sized reverbs, a bigger kind of more open reverb and then a smaller reverb. So basically what I have here is I have the dry vocal in this channel, then I sent it to a bus, added saturation knob, and then I sent the dry signal to my to the master. Then I also took a couple layers that I sent only to the effects channels that are panned. They're hard panned pretty far, like 50% or higher. And that was basically to add a little depth on a couple parts here. This here, this little kind of vocal, I call them vocal fills, but they have a whole like fillers. They have a whole little like melodic line or whatever. There's a singer's term, but I'm not a singer, so I don't really know the verbiage. But basically, I wanted to add a little width and a little feel and atmosphere to those parts as you're kind of building into the main vocals. And so I did that. And then here in the automation, so basically I did a vocal bus volume automation, and then I did the send automation. So this is to the large send. So where
Drifting away.
during the break and the breakdown and the third break, this is where the big send, where you want to have like that big epic kind of massive feel. This is when it comes in here. So I'll let y'all listen.
Drifting away. Moving apart, never stopping, never hoped it to start. Oh. Drifting away. Moving apart, never stopping, never hoped it to start. Oh.
So then it goes from there into a smaller, more intimate reverb that is it has a lot of reflection on it. So it's kind of like almost like a snapback, like it's feigning a little bit of delay, but y'all hear it, y'all will hear it on this vocal chop pattern.
Hang up, never 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 hang up, never.
And I also did something where I basically had it going from 50 to 100% send only for one of the samples, so it kind of has a snapback feel, like a fake ping pong almost.
Hang up, never hang up, never.
Right there. So that was just something I tried out for fun, and it sounded good, so I decided to stick with it. So then afterwards, it transitions back into the breakdown.
Hang up, never hang up, never. Drifting away. Moving apart, never stopping, never hoped it to start. Oh. Now I'm feeling the space surrounding my heart. Ooh, 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 I'll never run away. Ooh, 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 but I'll never be the same. Ooh,
And the vocals here
ooh,
get kind of wider and they get a lot bigger because of this big send. I just wanted to add a little bit of feeling to it like that. And then the vocals are also like the loudest part of the track besides the kick, and they are mainly, the main vocal line here is mainly dead center. You don't really want to pan your main vocals too much unless you have a bunch of layers that you can kind of layer in. To me, it's more about having your vocals kind of down the middle with your kick, and then fitting the rest of your sounds through panning and through reverb and delay, basically around the vocals, because they should be the essence and the real driver of the whole track. So yeah, I just did that, and then it kind of switches back to the verse, and it goes back to the kind of shorter, kind of smaller, more intimate reverb. So it adds a little bit of texture, but it's not too much, and and it adds just enough to where it feels still kind of full, but it's not, huge and wide and muddy. So, and then when I went back to it,
drifting away,
the bigger reverb here.
Moving apart, never stopping, never hoped it.
So that's that there. Let's see. And I can kind of show a little bit of the EQing here. So there was a really apparent sound here when I was de-essing. So I had to make a drastic cut here in like the mid highs, about 8,000 hertz or so. And then I actually had to multi-band compress this as well. I bypassed the low band, and I had to do the mid.
Drifting away.
and the high band because of that, just to try and do that. And then I did a little bit of compression after the fact here, really, really average, like 2-to-1 ratio, really low, with like a mid speed attack and a medium release. Nothing huge, nothing real strong, and some gain, some makeup gain. But I did that, and this is also before I got my new bus plugin, my compression bus plugin, excuse me. So like I would have used that here instead, but I didn't have it at the time. So then I just did some similar EQing there as well, and then on my synths here for the vocals, I ran a chorus into a Fruity Delay 3 with 100% wet and like about 30% level, and I offset the time by about -5 to the left, so it's a little bit offset in the delaying, which makes it, adds a little bit of space and a little bit of scope to it, which is pretty nice, pretty fun. Then I add another reverb, so that basically it goes through the chorus gets delayed, then all that delay runs through the reverb, and it kind of refracts and makes a really, really, really nice soundscape there. I added some pre-delay and some. I got rid of as much early reflection as I could. Like literally on this plugin, you can have negative reflection, negative infinity, because I wanted it to be kind of wider, and I didn't want to have any reflections to make it feel like it was in a enclosed space. So I did that, which is more of a stylistic choice. You don't have to do it that way. I slightly panned each send, so the big one is like 4% on the left, and then this one's like 4% on the right, the small. And then I added another little notch EQ, and I actually sidechained all the reverb just in case it bled over into the new verse. I didn't want it to, get muddy, so I added a sidechain there. And then the small send is almost the exact same, except for the reverb has reflection, and it is a smaller reverb in size, and it has negative pre-delay, so it'll hit early. And then the delay is smaller, and it's not as wet. And then the EQing is basically the same. The chorus is the same, and then the side chaining is even tighter because this is playing in the verse with everything else. So I didn't want it to get muddy at all. So I was like, okay, I gotta get on it. So yeah, that's that. So then here I have just a little chord stab. And the chord stab has the cutoff filter automated. So it opens up. This is what it looks like. It's a custom chord stab that I made when I made Deadbolt, that I use on a lot of tracks, and it's pretty nice. And you can add, as many notes as you want in the chord to kind of give it more texture and do things like that. So that's pretty fun. So that's a pretty self-explanatory layer there. Let's see, the bass line is my standard bass line. I only did a couple of things here. I layered some sub bass with a little bit of distortion and saturation, which sometimes can get a little, you got to be real careful with that, because you don't want the distortion on the low end and the saturation to like blow out your low end, your subs. Usually you don't need to do that, but I just wanted to experiment with it, and I sidechained it a lot just in case, so that wouldn't happen. I wouldn't have any issues with it. But it's a real loose sidechain, so there's still the attack's really slow or slower. So there's no I'm not affecting the transient. I'm affecting the stuff that trails it. I'm not the transient. I'm not affecting the attack. I'm affecting the stuff that trails that attack of the natural sub sound. So it'll hit, and then it'll get sidechained afterwards. You can't see because the kick's not going right now, but that's basically what the waveform looks like. Saturation knob is it's pretty up there for me. It's like 3 or 4. I usually don't go that hard on it. Then here's the sub distortion, And then the EQing is not too crazy. And the only reason why this is notched up here is for when I get the breakdown. I wanted that rumble on that long note here, so I did that. And the bass line is my standard bass line. I've got my EQ here. Let me pull up this pattern. I've got a limiter to sidechain here early, and then I've had chorus and blood overdrive going just to add some character and color to that high end. And then on the bus of the bass line, I've got another blood overdrive, but it's only about 5% activated, and I've got a distortion that's about 4 or 5% activated. Some compression, not a lot, about moderate 4-to-1 ratio, not too crazy. A little bit of a notch and a little bit of a boost in the mids, in the sub on the bass line, and some more saturation. So nothing too crazy. I just wanted to kind of boost it a little bit. Let's see here. Then I added in this 303 kind of sound, and let me see if I can find it. This like acid synth sound. So it's actually two different layers that I bust into the one channel, and then I automated their cutoff on both of them at the same time. They're both running off this automation, and then this is the volume for the actual bus. So this right here. And so basically I did this because I wanted to add a little bit of depth to this lead acid synth kind of sound, because I was going for more of like a harder techno 303, and I was like, I'd rather get something a little bit softer and that works with the vocals and a little bit more melodic sounding, so that I could kind of just layer it underneath and just have it, I panned it about 20% left and right for each layer, and then just kind of went from there. And so this one is a little bit higher. It's an octave higher, and it has delay on it, whereas this one has flanger on it. So each ear, when you're listening, your left ear is hearing one with a little bit more like spaced out sound, and your right ear is hearing more delay and trailing. So it adds a little bit of a sense of space to this synth line, even without having to do 30,000 layers and stuff like that. And so I did that. I did some basic EQing, and I did a little bit of limiting, and then I really didn't do any compression on this because I didn't want to really crush it. So I used another EQ to kind of shape the sound. I used Soft Clipper to give it a little punch, saturation knob to thicken it a little bit, make it a little fuller. I added some dry reverb, and then I used the compression I used was Molotov. I used a little bit of compression on Molotov. Not too much. I mean, 8 decibels of gain reduction is not terrible to get the sound you want here. And then the pattern changes in the breakdown. Oh, Plumas, how you doing? I hope you're enjoying yourself at All-Star Game Center, man. That's what's up. So I just added some notes here and there just to accentuate it a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of where the lead sound went from, or that synth sound came from. Then my drums here are, I do my drums pretty standard. Like, I'm always going to be using the same structure, so You know, I just like to kind of throw in some offhand hits, and I do my drum programming here in the channel rack, and I use some volume changes in the control down here. I not automate the volume, but I alter the volume to add swing basically, and then I'll shift notes. You know, I'll shift them, like I'll shift a couple notes, like this note and this note. I'll shift it a millisecond behind or a millisecond ahead, and then I'll shift this note and this note behind or ahead just to add a little bit of swing instead of using like a quantizer or anything. You can use a quantizer, it's fine, but sometimes I feel like I just want to kind of do it myself. So there's no real problem with doing it either way. But I did that, and then I have my drums all sent to Ascend. That's got basically some reverb on here that's pretty standard, and it's got some EQ. And sometimes I compress it in sidechain, but I didn't on this track. So yeah. Then I got a top kick. And then my kicks are basically just two kick samples, or two or three, I can't remember. Two kick samples, bust into my kick bus, and then I add a compressor. About 4-to-1 ratio, pretty hard. And then I do a couple of EQ boosts and cuts, and I use a stereo enhancer, and then I sum everything to mono because the kick should be in mono already. So yeah, this track, it's pretty simple. It's nothing too ridiculous or crazy. The most work and processing I did is probably on these vocals. And then yeah, everything else is oh, I didn't show the bell, the little bell sound, but it's just this MPS bells plugin with so I hadn't used this a lot, but musical parameter synth, you can kind of create your own synth here visually. And then I've got Fruity Delay 2, a little bit of EQ. I've got the Rev plate from Arturia, which is a really nice kind of vintage plate reverb. Then I got some side chaining with some added saturation through Fruity Limiter. And then I actually left-right EQ'd using my patcher preset I made. So I made this custom in patcher, and it runs each side. It splits the audio in two, and then to left and to right, and then I EQ left and right differently. And then it comes back together. So the left side of that same pattern sounds different than the right side. So it's nothing super wild or super crazy, but it works. Sometimes you just simple is better, and I'm a firm believer in that. So then the arrangement is, you know, my standard arrangement. I've got the intro into the like the build up, and then the first verse all within like the first probably minute and a half, and then you kind of get into the first break, second verse breakdown for about a minute, or yeah, it's about a minute breakdown. Third verse, and the third verse kind of extends for about a minute, and then you kind of get into the last break, and then the outro and the exit, which is like the last minute and a half. So yeah, nothing crazy. Yeah, so that was just kind of a quick little overview of my new remix, which is out now on all streaming platforms if you want to check it out. Edwin Jack Never PhuturePhil remix. It's a fun little track. It's just something I enjoyed doing it. I don't get to do a lot of vocal remixes, so work with vocals in general. So it's kind of like I'm going to do this and kind of get out of my normal comfort zone and, you know, jump into this one and see how it goes. So that's been in the works for a little while. I think I started that. Let's see. I started it in April. Yeah, April 7th, I believe. It's April. So it's been a couple, about what, 2.5 months? 3 months almost? Yeah, 3 months now. It feels like every day is just the days are running by so quick now. I'm like, oh gosh. But yeah, so that's basically my remix in a nutshell, real, in half an hour, and it's out now. I'm happy and I'm relaxed now. So now it's just trying to see if I can keep promoting it and getting it out there. I'll say one thing is after you release something, you should definitely continue to promote it. Like, don't just think because it's out now that you're done, because the way that music is consumed nowadays and the way that tracks go, your track could take off 6 months from now or a year from now. Like, you never know. So you should occasionally post about it. Occasionally mention that it's, you can listen to it. Do run some ads if you want to. Do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Plumas, thank you for the emotes. Appreciate it. It's yeah, it's very fun. We're very I'm very excited, and I say we as in people who listen to me. We're all happy I have new music out. So finally, right? It's like, okay, we gotta get to it now. But